If you're anything like me, you started planning your 2026 NYCC budget. You checked the ReedPop website and immediately fell out of your chair. NYCC just dropped their new ticket prices and the internet is on fire, with VIP passes sitting at almost $1,000 and 4-day badges at $321. A lot of fans are asking, are we being priced out of our own community? Welcome to ConJunkies. Today we are breaking down the exact math behind these insane prices and why things aren't exactly as they seem. Check out our video.
Have you ever followed your favorite celebrity, artist, or writer across the country?
You may be a con junkie.
Sit back, relax, have a drink. Join us for the conversation.
Welcome back, ConJunkies. Today we've got a very exciting topic, something that's burning up social media. We're talking NYC 2026 pricing.
It's out of
Flash
control.
fact for you. New York Comic Con prices, including taxes and fees, have risen 5 to 7 times higher than the U.S. cost of living. Let that sink in for you. You know, I think it's interesting that they've added like a Kids Thursday, but you've also now raised the cost for a Kids Sunday.
But also, there are a lot of people on social media. I've seen quite a few videos on TikTok already of people who have gone in the past who are now like, it's not really worth it. You're not getting a lot of things anymore. So much has changed from like the loss of a lot of big sponsors to now like a lot of the vendors just selling things that you can find on Temu and Alibaba and all sorts of things. There's no originality left anymore, and it's turned very, very corporate.
I agree.
Right.
For me, the sponsors for me is a big one. For those con junkies out there that haven't gone to New York Comic Con consistently for years, this is going to be your first one, second, third. If you go back maybe 10, 12 years, 13 years, I think we've been going 13, guys.
Yeah.
We had Geico, we had Chevrolet, we had a lot of the big comic book companies from DC, Marvel, Image, Boom, you name them, who had big footprints. And what I mean by big footprints, I don't mean a small booth. I mean, you would walk in and it was floor to ceiling, giant, setup.
You'd see them from the other end of the show floor.
Right.
You couldn't miss it. You don't have to know what aisle they're in. You can see and you can weave your way to them. Yeah, that's all gone. And yeah. I mean, DC disappeared for years.
Yeah.
Years. Yeah. Last year was their first time back since probably, I'm going to say almost pre-COVID. Now, I mean, when, I'll date myself a little bit. I think, one of their last big, showings was when they released Justice League.
Right.
And they had, you had all the costumes down in the South Pavilion. But that was it. After that, they didn't have a real presence. Even Graphic Designs was sort of like their retailer, their T-shirts, and they basically resold the foil comic books that were printed for New York Comic Con. Like they even disappeared. Like I used to buy at least one shirt and used to get a bunch of comics from them every year, and then I couldn't find them at all.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, with the disappearance of the sponsors, like that for me was a wake-up call. I wondered the first year, and then we talked about it just briefly because we didn't really go into it. But when we saw them over time just disappear completely, like Geico would have a big Geico vehicle where you would walk in and you would come out the other side. They'd have little games. They'd give you like a goodie bag. They had giant rugs that were really thick, so people could sit down and their feet would feel a little bit more relaxed. So they had a little something to help the people out. Chevrolet had all these cars on display, and same thing on a super thick rug where people could sit and get their legs relaxed, their feet actually relaxed a little bit.
And a DJing by the cars, and like just people just rocking out and hanging out and chilling out, just enjoying the vibe. And there's now what are the big sponsors there? They're not even sponsors. They just have a booth. Like now, there's a whole anime block, and there's nothing wrong with anime. I'm a fan of anime myself.
Huge fan.
But there's, Crunchyroll is there, and it's this big footprint, and there's hardly anything there. And you see people standing online, like, what are you online for? Well, I don't know. They're giving something out, and they're giving out nothing. There's nothing for them.
Right. They're giving a keychain or a lanyard, less than, just a generic lanyard.
The big vendors that are there now, I don't know if they fall under the sponsor realm. Is eBay? Funko doesn't fall under that. I mean,
No.
not that I know of, because Funko's not doing very well as a company anyway.
No,
but eBay's there with a huge footprint.
The big sponsor last year was Walmart, and that goes back to corporate representation.
Right.
Yeah, they were outside, and even in conventions of past, they utilized the outside. They would have
movie previews,
movie screenings of, like, I think it was, what was it, the movie 1917 there, that was there.
Yep.
They had a couple years ago, it was after COVID, they had it's gone from my head. It was DC, and they had a tent outside. I can't remember the name of the show. And they had a tent, and you go through and you do all of these different activities, and it was very interactive. And last year there was nothing. Walmart was outside, and that was it. And it was nothing. I think people were like, oh, you could, you stand online and get a little goodie bag with a keychain in it. But there was like no experience behind it. It was just Walmart.
Yeah, right. I mean, they had a... Go ahead, 0.5.
So I was going to say that years pass, and in even last year, where even as you're coming into on your way into the show floor, you had like the SpongeBob the movie. They had a big setup. Even like Paramount Plus for Star Trek, whether it was Starfleet Academy or something, they had a setup. And all that sort of like faded. Even like years ago when Back to the Future celebrated their 40th anniversary, they had a big setup like out there in the rotunda, that you could either, whether it was the DeLorean, you could get in and take a picture with there. There was something for you to do. And all that sort of gone away. I remember in the old days, I say this like I'm an old person. Back when I was a lad, Lego used to have like a big footprint there.
Yes, they did.
Legos disappeared, and even when Lego sort of like scaled back, I remember because I ran out for their exclusive, and they had when the Lego BrickHeads, and it was a Boba Fett, and you could go up, and you didn't have to. You did have to pay. It wasn't like it was for free. But it was like $20-$30, and you got like the Lego BrickHead, Boba Fett, and you walked away a happy camper. Outside, all you have now is food trucks and your corporate sponsor, shilling. Not even like a fun experience. Whether it's like a haunted, a horror house, walk through something. That
right.
that you do. Again, Comic-Con is all about experiences.
Yes,
I agree. I agree.
And all that has sort of like melted away, and it's all about let's get you in, let's take your money, and spin you around a couple of times, and then send you home.
Yeah.
Greg, so one of the biggest thing for me, so I think we've covered a lot of, our personal frustrations. So for the ConJunkies that are out there that are listening to us, some of these are our personal frustrations. We consistently talk about conventions, and we go to a lot of conventions, all three of us, and 0.5's wife tags along with us as well. It's all four of us usually. One of the things that I really did not like was the last few years. I don't know how many years back this started, but hey guys, New York Comic Con starting, and here are the tickets, here are the prices. And by the way, if you want to be the first in line to get a VIP ticket, get into Popverse and pay $125 for the privilege to be the first online to get a VIP ticket, which is insane. That's a different conversation that we'll have momentarily. You get on the day that the tickets are launched. I think there's two separate dates, one for the Popverse and one for the general public. You don't know who's coming. You don't know what celebrities are coming. You don't know what artists are coming.
You
You
don't
don't
know
know
the
what
lineup.
vendors are coming. You know nothing. So it's like, give us all your money, and we're gonna charge you a lot, and it's gonna keep going up, up, and up. Like this year, VIP is might as well round it off to $1,000, which is completely insane. And we're not gonna tell you who's gonna be there. I'm not gonna mention other convention names. If somebody slips, so be it. But there are other cons out there that a week or two after the con is done, they might mention one or two people and they'll have the dates ready. Now, a month or two or three later, they're already spitting out names. And I don't mean one, I mean two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. There's one convention that they're pumping out names like crazy, like a
There are
couple.
actually a couple of shows that are coming up
Yeah.
after New York,
Yep.
continuing to pump out names, celebrities, and comic creators as well.
Yep.
Both of those shows continue to pump out new guests almost on a weekly basis.
Wandi, what do you think?
I think like to tag on what you were saying, like last year, Craig called me and was like, "Oh my God, they're selling a package for for Tim Curry, and you know we got to get this because it was Rocky Horror Picture Show." So we immediately, he and I are on the phone, and we go ahead and we purchase our autographs and everything. And that was like what? That was like, I don't know, January, I think it was. So by the time we were there, like I was freaking out because I was like, did I buy this? I don't remember buying this. I don't. It was so far in advance
That's
that
almost a full year in advance.
that's
That's
all
almost
right
a full
because
year.
their show is in November. So it was just like, wow, like I said, Craig, did we buy this? And he's like, yeah, we bought it. And I had to go back and look in my emails. Whereas with New York Comic Con, there's still no lineup announced as of the day that we're recording this. There's no lineup at all. You don't know who is going to be there. And then they pigeonhole you into forcing you to buying a ticket, but you don't know whether or not you want to go because you don't know who's going to be there, what vendors are going to be there. And they're really, putting the screws to the people who built this convention. The fans built this convention. And it's changing drastically. You've heard us talk about what was there, what wasn't there. The biggest part for me, in addition to all of the things that are missing now, aside from the financial aspect as well, is the vibe. The vibe is changing. And it's not from the fans. The fans are great. You're always going to have those diehard fans that, oh, can I stop and get a picture with you? Or, if they're dressed up a certain way, or, we still make the best out of the situation and we have a good time. What I mean by the vibe is changing, last year there was like the show floor was quiet. There was nothing. Usually Marvel had a whole stage and you can hear them announcing all of these things and people are screaming and hooting and hollering. There's nothing whatsoever. And the craziness of the Funko Pops has taken over one side, and it's insane. Like that's just what people go there for. They go and they come out with these bags that are bigger than them, filled with Funko Pops. For what? For what? It's absolute insanity. I don't understand the whole thing behind it. I remember one year going between, the block into the show floor. They transformed that into the underground sewers for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because it was being rebooted by Nickelodeon. That was an experience in itself to go from one side to the other. There's nothing now. There's nothing. And when you're walking in that space now, the light difference is drastic, and the vendors that are there are in the dark. And it's a disservice to those vendors that are there because they are in the dark. It's not well lit at all in any way, shape, or form. And it's just I don't know. The vibe is just really, really changing for me. And it's you go outside under the underpass where all of the food trucks are. That you see people, like, we sit there and we people watch. I think last year was the most that we sat there and we people watched, because that was more entertaining than what was inside for me.
Yeah,
You know?
I completely agree. Just to tack onto that, we don't mean to bash on Funko because that's not what it's about, right? Like,
No.
people love Funkos, whatever. We own a ton of Funkos as well, but Funko is a little bit of an issue at Comic-Con because you have to get a wristband or a ticket to get online, and
Everything's a lottery.
yeah,
It's
yeah. Go ahead, point five. Talk about that.
It's not. So yeah. So again, as the resident,
You have a lot of pain with that.
From having chased the lottery for many years, yeah, it's tough. Like everything else. Just like now you're queuing up for tickets to the show. Once you get your tickets, if you're lucky enough to get those tickets, now you've also got to queue up for panels, exclusives,
Yep.
and Funko. I think even Funko now has their own queue. They're even like separate from the panels and autograph
and any other queue that they may come up with, because I feel like when you go back a few years, these things didn't exist, and this year the Funko thing came up. Then this year, this thing came up, and it's just if these things worked well, that would be a whole different story. But the Funkos is a nightmare. And then there's also when you go onto the show floor, they'll have let's say none of this is done electronically. When you go to the show floor, you get online because you want to get this exclusive thing. I think one year we did the Crocs.
Yes.
Yeah. And we had to go to the booth to get a ticket. And they're like, oh, well, we ran out. We just walked in the building. How did you run out? Come back at 1. I mean, we managed to get
no, but I stayed online.
Eric was online for like several hours.
I was online for like 4 hours for those damn Crocs, which I'm wearing. I shouldn't, I wear them. They're like, I went to town on these Crocs, but it was like the whole morning was spent waiting online to purchase these Crocs. And then the most frustrating thing for me was people, and I'm not bashing people because people are going to do what they're going to do. We waited 4 hours to get those Crocs. They buy like 5 or 6 different ones in various sizes, and they turn around and they start selling them right online, for triple and quadruple the price. Again, I'm not bashing people. That's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. Fine. But for the people who don't have that or are not doing that and just want to purchase it because they want it, it's so frustrating and it's tiring. I spent the bulk of the day waiting online for those damn Crocs. Meanwhile, you guys were running around doing different things, checking it. You need anything, checking in, but it becomes, you sort of get sucked into it even though you don't want to. But I think to stop the NYCC bashing, this year they got better with the merch store. And I say that because they were in the center and you can purchase from either side of the booth. So it wasn't just one tiny booth with a line zigzagging that was on forever, but they were sort of in the center and they had the store on both sides. And I think that's a really good thing to do because they're expanding the merch store. And that's fine. That's a smart thing.
They had a lot of cashiers, and they're waving their big fans, and boom, next in line, because that line was going all day long,
and it was moving.
It was moving, so they did a good job of that. And just to tag onto that, some of you may feel that we're being negative right now on Comic-Con, and there's a lot of pros as well. What you're hearing from us is we are experienced New York Comic-Con goers that have been going for 12 years, 13 years, whatever it is. So we've seen the evolution of then to now. But there's a lot of great things at Comic Con too. Obviously, you have these celebrities, you have artists. Like last year in Artist Alley was complete insanity because there was a lot of amazing artists. They could do better in Artist Alley. They could give it more room because it does get completely crazy. I actually have a video that I've put up on Instagram walking through Artist Alley, and it was insane. So, I mean, there's a lot of really great things still that happen at Comic Con, and they happen because of the people. So, some of the vendors, or most, or I'll rephrase that, most of the vendors, celebrities, a lot of the celebrities are just sweetheart, amazing, just awesome people. The panels, uh, the big panels that happen in the bigger stages that might turn into like a movie, that might turn into like, here's all the people, here's all the actors from Walking Dead, like right in front of your face, that type of thing. So there's still a lot of great things that happen at New York Comic Con. But for being in New York City on the west side, where if you keep walking towards the water, you can see the Statue of Liberty and so on, at the Javits Center, which is one of the biggest convention centers probably in the US, I'm going to guess. I don't know. But if it's not, it's massive. And it's been remodeled. They've added buildings. They like to compete with the attendance of San Diego Comic-Con. It should be
They've
better.
got competition from MegaCon now.
Yeah,
Orlando's trying to step in there and take number 2 away from them at the very least.
right. It should be better. We deserve better.
And to add on to what you're saying, Ray, the experience of going to New York Comic Con is an experience in and of itself. Our frustration lies in the amount of money that is costing now. And even just from a couple of years ago, the prices have increased so much, and we're getting less. That's what the
100%.
frustration is.
100%.
It's we're getting less. There's less things there. There's the copy and paste of like all of the same vendors. You don't have the variety of vendors, the variety in items that the vendors are selling is getting less. There's a lot of people selling similar things, and that's fine because one vendor may have what you want at a less price, but the quality of that item is getting cheaper too, right? But they're charging more. I remember that there were some really nice, amazing like pieces of art or whatever that I really, really wanted, but I first of all, where am I going to put it? But second of all, like, I have to really think about the cost. Is it going to be cost effective for me?
And
They have, what I can say about the pluses, they have increased the amount of food options. That's a really good thing. There's a lot more there's a lot more diversity in foods, and there are a lot more healthier options for people, which is a great thing. And what else? The new part of the Javits that they built.
The new North Pavilion is
It's
a beautiful space.
It's a beautiful space. There's a lot of
allows people to spread out a little bit more than when
they even
everybody was cramped
they even
into.
extended the show floor all the way to the end, which they used to cut it off.
Yeah.
Which we saw that last year. We met some nice YouTubers. We met just a lot of people, and they turned that almost into like the restaurant zone or the food zone,
Right.
which
And
was great.
also they've gotten better with the photo ops. That they have like a board with, it's kind of like when you're looking for your train, or your plane, your flight. It's a board of like who's going to be where and at what time, and they tell you what time to get there. They're getting better at that, and even with the autographs too, because I remember last year, I was online to see Annie Potts, and I forget who was next to her, but it was like we were kind of like in a corner, but they were knocking it out and they were doing a really good job. The only thing now is that people are starting to want to do the certificate of authenticity right there and have them witness it, so it becomes a little bit crowded when they have the authenticator standing there as well, and they're like, it's just, it just gets a little bit
It's a little
crazy.
too much. Too
It's a
many
little bit
people in too
tight,
small of a place.
but
It is too much because you have so many celebrities,
yeah.
so it gets jammed up.
Yeah, but even with, you know, getting the your things authenticated, that process is relatively smooth too. You drop it off, and then they tell you to come back at a certain time, and you come back. So again, there are pluses, um, but I think the bigger they get, you know, we were talking about this in passing. The downside to becoming bigger is that if you want to attend a panel in one building and you want to go to the panel that's starting right behind it, you're not going to make it.
Not
Yep.
going to
You're not
make
going
it,
to make
and they
it.
no longer let you. I tried that last year, and they said no, no, no. That panel doesn't. You need more than a half-hour buffer between panels.
Yep.
Can't attend. Choose another.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna
choose
tag on.
wisely.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
tag back onto pricing, Wandy, that you were talking about, and you were talking about pricing of things that you could purchase. So we're gonna go back now to pricing to the consumer, but there's also a cost to the vendor.
Yeah.
Like we've said, we've been attending cons for a long time. We just started this channel. We've been on Instagram for a little bit, maybe I don't know, what, 6 months or something like that. Maybe a little longer, I don't remember. But we know vendors. We have very close relationship with vendors because we wind up seeing the same vendors at different cons sometimes. There's vendors that we really love and we buy stuff from them. We also want to be supportive of the vendors, even if it's, hey, how are you? You know, and just having a conversation with them and just getting to know them. And we have vendors that have told us, you know, the stark reality of what it costs to be a vendor at New York Comic Con. It could be literally tens of thousands of dollars. Um, you don't get a table, you don't get a chair. The tables could cost you almost $1,000 a table. A chair could cost you almost $200 a chair. Um, so the vendors, when you go to buy something and it's super pricey at New York Comic Con, just keep that in mind. They have to pay for Wi-Fi, they have to pay for electricity. So, you know, in the
There's a lot
beginning
of
when I
upcharge.
yeah,
It's
when I didn't know
they're
any better,
passing their costs along to you because
yeah,
they've got to in order to make a profit if they make a profit.
yeah, when I didn't know any better, when I wasn't aware of this, I was like, my God, these vendors are insane. But then over the years, as we gotten to know them, it makes sense. You know, like some of
Start
these
to put the
people are,
pieces of the puzzle together.
yeah, they may be coming from overseas, they may be coming from different parts of the country, they're staying in hotels, and one of the most expensive cities to stay in as a visitor in the entire United States, if not the world, you know, to stay in a hotel in Manhattan, it's insane. uh, and they're lugging all their stuff with them. It's insane, and there's more to it. There's a whole bunch of other behind the scenes stuff that we know. um, but yeah, it's nuts. So we're gonna make a little shift. Um, I'm gonna shift over to a little presentation that we have, so we could take a look at the New York Comic Con ticket trends. So what we did was we did an analysis from 2021 through current, which the tickets have not gone on sale yet. But yeah, so that's where we are now. Um, So if you look at the market overview for the inflation, single tickets over 5 years have gone up almost 60%, 4 days almost 40%, VIP almost 204% from 2021 to 2026. I didn't put 2020 because we were shut down because of a little outbreak that was going on out there. But yeah, it's nuts. Saturday admission.
Again, it's way higher than the rate of inflation. You know, and if your job has given you a wage increase that matches that, God bless you. A lot of us have not had that kind of luck. But again, I think we all still love NYCC. We all still want to attend. Again, it's now, it's gone from, it's become more of a luxury, and more of a privilege and less of a right.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
like right now in this slide, the Saturday admission, the high demand surge is the name of the slide. You see that from 2024 to 2025, it went up 6.5%. From 5 to 6, from 2025 to 2026, 20.1%. Like 2026 cost exceeds $100 for the first time.
Right.
Hey ConJunkies, if you found this video helpful, please support the channel, drop a like, and hit subscribe. It helps us immensely and feeds the YouTube algorithm.
That dynamic pivot, if you want to explain that, again, ticket prices were flat across the board. So what you paid for a ticket on Thursday was the same price you paid for a ticket on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now they've set dynamic pricing. So prices are a little bit less on a Thursday, a little bit more on Friday. Your highest price is Saturday. And then you're back down a little bit on Sunday. Again, Sunday, you're also losing 2 hours. The show floor closes at 5 o'clock, where every other day it's open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. So you're getting 2 less hours, but you're still paying that Friday price.
That's correct. So
and there was 1 year where they got rid of the 4-day passes, so you couldn't purchase a 4-day pass. You had to
you
purchase
wanted to
each
be
day.
there 4 days. Yeah, you had they forced you into buying the individual passes, which was sneaky. And I think they learned their lesson, and we saw that that quick return to that 4-day ticket.
Right, and that's where we are now. We're at the 4-day pass, the value threshold. So as you guys said, I believe Wanda, you said it. From 21 through 24, there was the stability where they were 4-day passes, and that was the best value. And the pricing, even though there was a shift, it wasn't that obnoxious, although, I mean, that's debatable. Then the actual shift jumped in 2025 to $287. And now in 2026, we're at $321.17 for a 4-day pass. And as Wandy mentioned, there was, and 0.5, there was a year that there was no 3-day pass. It's just pretty bananas.
I think it's a sticker shock for all of us, and again, I think it's a sticker shock to everybody out there, and I think that's why there's so much chatter about pricing this year, is that again, everybody's hurting. Unless you're living under a rock, everybody sees what's going out there. Job market's tighter. Wages are stagnant. But everybody deserves and to get out and enjoy themselves. And I think for us, Comic-Con and comic conventions are something we love to do. This is where we like to spend our disposable income. I think some of you out there, this is a place where you like to spend your disposable income. And I think getting back to the root of this is that I want the best bang for my dollar. If I'm going to go to Comic-Con, I want that full Comic-Con experience.
And also, not just disposable income. There are certain people that may not have that luxury, and they plan on attending just one thing a year, and they're this is where they're gonna have that time for themselves that they've looked forward to for a year. And this just makes it that much more difficult with everything being tighter for a lot of folks. And that's the realization.
We haven't, sorry to cut you off there, Erica, but we haven't even gotten into the hidden costs.
Yeah.
That travel cost, that hotel cost, that food cost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So now this is going to kind of kick in the butt what I was talking about before, where prices from 21 through 24 were kind of stayed stable, but not in the VIP area. 21 VIPs were $236. 23,
326.
326. Sorry, thank you. 23 were 550, 25 875, and this year 990 and 75 cents. You might as well say it's a grand. Um, as it says on the slide, the VIP ticket has evolved from a premium perk to a four-figure luxury investment. So it's outstripping standard inflation by over 3 times. So as Wandy was saying, if this is your one place that you go a year, there's people that have that. Let's not pretend that there's not people that have the funds to go to this convention and they won't feel it and they'll be just fine. Some folks are are in a better scenario than others. But for regular folks that they may save up their money, or they may go, hey, I'm gonna put this on credit and I'll just pay it over the year, because that's real. That's $1,000. And if you decide that you're gonna buy more than one and you're coming from out of town, and point five, you didn't even mention a flight. What if you have to catch a flight? What if you catch a plane to come to New York? Like he mentioned the hotel, the food, and so on. And he's right. But what if you're catching a flight? Like, what if that flight costs you five, six, seven, $800? Because everything is up right now because what's happening in the world. Gas is up, which trickles down to food, hotel, flights, because the airlines have to pay more for fuel. I was honestly, from a personal standpoint, I was shocked that the VIP was $1,000, because I'm just going to call it what it is.
Right. And and I think that it's 20th anniversary. Yeah, that's one thing, but I don't think that these prices, justify or, sing the, I won't say sing the praise, but it's just, yeah, I think there's some misalignment here.
For sure.
And also,
You know,
just going back to, this is going to be the 20th anniversary. Why has nothing been announced?
100. You took it
Nothing.
right out of my mouth. I was thinking that.
Nothing has been announced about what activities they may have, what after parties are going to be going on, like nothing. And yes, there are after parties after conventions. Nerds like to have after parties as well.
Sure.
But there's been nothing. It has been silent. It has been quiet. There has been nothing mentioned about what they're planning to do to celebrate the 20th anniversary for NYCC, which is a shame. Again, because I think it has gone so corporate. I think they're like waiting to see if what they can do. And maybe they don't have partnerships with people yet. Maybe they're having a hard time getting people. I don't know. I don't know what that end is, what that looks like for them. I know what it looks like for other conventions where they're announcing people and they're announcing reunions and they're announcing all sorts of things. There has been not one peep other than make sure you're fan verified. Make sure you're fan verified. And that's it.
Right. And you took it out of my mouth. I was thinking it. And the 20th anniversary thing, when point five mentioned it, like there's zero excuse for New York Comic Con on their 20th anniversary. There's no I don't know what that means for some of you. I know it means a lot to us. There's no excuse. Imagine if San Diego Comic Con did this. Like, I'm sure the folks that attend that con would be pretty upset as well. So now let's talk about kids family pricing. So Sunday tickets have gone up 35% year over year. Now they're almost $50, $49.54. The new tier for Thursday Kids, which is a brand new thing, Thursday Kids. The tickets used to be single day, 4-day VIP. Now the $33.21, that's the cheapest. So the impact on families that are going to pay $50 to round it off, per kid on a Sunday, that might stop them from going if they have
that's a
a
lot.
bunch of kids.
That's a big change. From where it was when it was like $30 a kid, and it was affordable. Now it's like coming to Comic-Con on Sunday is like attending a baseball game or a basketball game. It's you're mortgaging the farm to take your kids out to for a Sunday afternoon here.
And not only that, the crowds on Sunday are still big. So you're navigating the Javits Center with potentially strollers, with potentially wagons. Some people may use a wagon to have their children, along with all of these people who are cosplaying, who are carrying all of these things, who are buying these things. Whereas before Sunday, it kind of petered off a little bit. Now I think because it's costs less than a Saturday, people are going to come, like more people are going to come. So they're making it a little bit more difficult.
Right. And I think, getting back to how many people are going to be there, I wholeheartedly expect them to oversell this convention.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
So let's go into the historical data, 21 through 23. You could see right there. Thursday was 68.54, and it just went up. The numbers that you're seeing in front of you, except for VIP, are not horrible. So 21 through 23, Thursday single day, Saturday single day, and even the 4-day pass, the going up trend wasn't horrible. If you wanted to really be picky, the 4-day went up like $41. But now, when you look at the VIP from 21 through 23, we're talking 326, 498, 550. So those are significant jumps, especially when folks are maybe buying multiples of them. So, yeah.
Right. And now, again, and we'll when we start to talk about when you can get tickets, the VIPs are now out of reach for a lot of people. Best most the fan verified can hope for is a 4-day, unless you are a Popverse super fan, and we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Yep, we're gonna get to that for sure.
VIPs are gone even before your little green man is walking across the screen as you wait and toil in the queue.
That is correct. So now we're looking at the current data metrics from 24 to 26. You'll see that from 24 to 26, the Thursdays went up $10 and change. Saturday, much more, from 85 to 91 to 109. The 4-day jumped from 272.24 to 321, and the VIP went from 625 to 990. Might as well say $1,000. And an argument could be made that for the numbers that I just went through from the current and historical data, that the numbers, they only went up $10, they only went up $15, except for the VIPs mainly, and a little bit less on the 4 days. But over time, when you look at it over those from 21 through 26, it's a pretty huge jump.
Right. I think this, this dynamic pricing, I certainly hope it doesn't spread. I haven't seen this spread to some of the other shows that we're looking at attending that are on our docket for this year. I hope maybe that this is a one-time only, or that they get a decent amount of pushback, and we see a little bit of a return to some of the norms. I also think that, I guess, we'll see, where we're all at, come 12 p.m. on June 14th. Where the, how many tickets are sold out, how many days are still remaining available.
That's right. And just to remind everyone out there and us on ConJunkies, last year everything didn't sell out right away. So I forgot what sold out first. I don't remember if it was VIP.
VIPs were gone.
VIPs.
Well, VIPs were gone by the time that we all got online to buy tickets.
But they were
4 days went.
There were tickets that were available for a long time. I remember
Thursdays and Sundays were usually the hardest to sell out.
Yeah. That was a change. That was not like that.
No,
when we went back in time, they would just sell out.
Right.
Yeah,
Everything by the time we got off, or at least by the time at the end of the day, when tickets went on sale for fan verification, mostly everything was sold out. We either had to get on the reseller market and hope to get a ticket. Um, if you and your friends didn't get your tickets.
right. So real quick, so New York has a New York State tickets transparency law. So the old way, they would tell you this is what the ticket costs plus fees and taxes. The new way is they tell you the total up front, but they don't give you a breakdown. I don't know if they're going to catch flack for that. I don't know if that they're adhering by the law. I did not check. Um, at least you know what the total is. That's good. Um, but if you're looking for a breakdown, you're not going to find that breakdown until you go to checkout and make the payment, because they have to then show you this is what the ticket costs, this is the tax, and this is the fee. All right, so here's the visual comparison, which is kind of, we've already kind of talked about this, is what like a Thursday, Saturday, 4-day and VIP. We missed the Friday. And you see the gaps between the different tiers, which they're huge. We've gone VIP many years, and
Well, there were a lot of perks, and there still are a lot of perks to VIP. But again, we've been priced out now by the Popverse Superfan paywall.
correct. And let's go there. All right, so here we are. We are at the Popverse Superfan paywall. I'll tell you, I think out of all of us, the one who got the most upset about this was me. I dropped all kinds of sexy language about it when I spoke to Craig, point five. I was like, what the hell? I have to pay $125 for the privilege to get online before everyone else to buy a specific ticket. It's insane. It's
Right.
just
So you can really push that, that 1,000, that 990, up another 125, because that's basically it. And again, the super van, the cost of membership continues to rise year over year. Last year it was $99 and it's a 1 year membership. So you can either pay, it's now $6 a month, or you can pay 125 for the year.
But
To get
what does that membership get you other than the ability to purchase a ticket before me?
It gets you a discount at the merchandise store, and it gets you the option to see the convention online and to see archive videos. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
right.
That's
Really,
that's not worth it.
it's your ace in the hole for the VIP pass.
Right.
And listen, I again, like Ray said, we've gotten the VIP before, and the VIP has some sexy perks. You get early entrance. Now you have access to every panel. Doesn't matter if it's a half hour before. You can walk in at any time to any panel in any room, and you've got a reserved seat. You get some, again, there are some discounts on the merch. I think there you have somewhat of a fast pass for some autographs and photo ops, and that's it. And you plunk down your $1,000.
You can't forget that they have a special area upstairs, which is nothing.
Right.
Right.
A nice private lounge, the personal coat check. Those are all nice perks. But they're again now with the newly built North Pavilion, or not so newly built anymore. It's been there a couple of years now. There's a lot more space. Again, everybody's no longer as on top of each other as we were
In the
during the
past,
time
yeah.
of construction,
Yep.
or even spread out when things were going on at MSG or at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and you had to leave the Javits Center to go see another panel, and you had to spend more time walking around instead of enjoying the convention, which
Yeah,
again is what we're all
or
there
taking
for.
a bus or taking a train to get to like Madison Square Garden or to get to the Hammerstein Ballroom. Or a cab, because everybody's situation is different.
Nope,
What if you can't walk because you have a
100%.
medical condition? You have to jump on a cab, or maybe you'll take a train or bus that
Right. You're limited into to where you can go, what you can do. And you're certainly, reducing, people's ability to get the full enjoyment for, their price of admission, for sure.
right. And I know that for us, like I know I'm big on this. Um, you're taking away my precious time from an event that I actually super love to attend. I just wasted a couple of hours going to the MSG and coming back instead of being there. Anyway, so then there's the early bird tactic where that ranges from $15 to $25, less or more. You may save it or you may pay the extra $15 to $25. Early bird versus general admission. And then there's shipping fees, $14.50 per order. So it's like, for all you video gamers, they're microtransactioning the heck out of us.
Right. And that's why, like it says, bundle, buy tickets with your friends.
Yeah. So we took our time to go through this, and we compiled it, as you guys could see, because we're just as frustrated as you are. Going to switch back to our other studio, and if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below. We would definitely love to see you guys' reactions, um, and
Let
your
us know your experiences.
and your general reactions. Let's hear your feedback. But I think the gist of this video for us was just how insanely expensive Comic-Con has gotten, how you're getting so much less, with the disappearance of sponsors, with a lot of vendors selling a lot of the same thing. Um, I could tell you I went to an anime con last year that I paid a decent amount of money for myself and my daughter to go. I paid to go in to buy stuff. It's like if I paid an entrance fee into a mall. There was a few anime celebrities there and whatever, but it did not justify what I paid. I pretty much paid for the privilege to go to vendors to buy stuff from them. It was terrible. And I love anime as well. So I go to anime cons.
But to piggyback off of what Ray and Craig were saying, we do want to hear what your experiences have been and continue to be. So we have actually compiled a Google form that you can fill out. It's on all our socials. You can find it on our Instagram page, and you can find it on our Facebook. We would love to hear your experiences and find out what you think and whether or not you're going to be attending this year, because I think the numbers don't lie. And taking all things into consideration, not just that you're getting less, but more importantly, what kind of impact is this going to have on you and your decision making to go or to not to go, and what would you prefer? What do you think? And what kills me too is that about this is that NYCC sends out a questionnaire afterwards. Oh, what was your experience? What would you like? What would entice you in coming? What if we bundled it with this, or bundled it with that, or give you like a free food? Like, you're asking all of these questions, and I'm sure people are answering you, but you haven't done anything with it yet. So
Right. We're like, what are they taking those answers and then they
and
end
what
up
are they doing
flushing
with
them.
it?
Right. What, yeah, I
So
don't see, I
Yeah.
have not seen the, the correlation between taking those answers and making the improvements that I think a lot of us have suggested,
yeah.
you know, um, where is that? So I'd like to bring it back and give everybody, again, if you had your head buried in the sand, if you don't have email or you haven't checked your email in some time, some very important dates for all of us. as it comes to purchasing our NYCC 2026 prices. Coming back to the Popverse Superfan, if you have your membership, you've received your email notification, and you've completed your fan verification, your tickets are going to go on sale Wednesday, June 3rd at 12 p.m. So that's Wednesday, midweek. Good luck, all you super fans. For us fan verified, pre-sale goes on sale Sunday, June 14th, 10 a.m. Make sure your mom sets your alarm clock a little bit early so you're up in time. If you're not already fan verified, well, don't worry. You're not out of luck. Fan verification will reopen to the public Monday, June 15th, according to ReedPop, sometime in the afternoon. Stay close to your email. Make sure that you get yourself fan verified. Once you're fan verified, you lucky dogs, your tickets will go on sale Wednesday, June 24th, again at noon. Good luck to us all.
Yep. You guys will get the June 15 group will get whatever's left.
Unfortunately.
Right?
So I got a question for you two guys. I'll start with you, Wandy. Do you think that, and we could choose what was the first date, Craig?
June 3rd for the super fan.
We could choose June 3rd or June 14th.
No.
No.
Only...
Wait. I have a question. This is a question. Do you think that on June 3rd or June 14th, do you think tickets are going to sell out?
Absolutely. VIPs are going to sell out.
What do you think, 0.5?
Again, I agree with Wandy, Erica, that VIPs will be gone. Gone by the time that we're access for just the fan verify.
So this is where I disagree. I think that on June 14th there'll still be VIPs left. So when the fan verifieds, when the little guy runs across the screen, depending when the heck that you actually get in.
If it's not always, you're not guaranteed. There's always an if.
Because the first little green guy that gets in, the first batch, I think there's going to be VIPs left for those guys. I do predict that after June 14th, and maybe even after June 15th, there will be tickets left for potentially Thursday, Friday, 4-day. That's just a prediction. And I'll tell you why I predict that. I predict it based on the economy, nothing else. Because I know that if you're a con junkie, you're just as insane as we are. And this is where New York Comic Con gets you by the britches. They know that you're going to go. And they know you're going to pay the price. Even though something that we haven't said, I believe, was it last year or the year before that, Craig, that we actually shrunk the amount of days we went. Because we said
the last 2 years, at least for myself and my wife, we just went Thursday and Friday. I had just had a lot of that Comic-Con fatigue. I was reinvigorated after COVID, but a couple of years, it just wore me down. I was just like, I can't do a Saturday anymore. Sunday had lost all of its charm for me. And we were just happy to do a Thursday, Friday. Now I know you guys went, got the 4 days last year. And yes, there was a little bit of FOMO. I did feel like I missed, as much as I enjoyed having the Saturday and Sunday to myself, there was a little bit like something's not right here. I should be doing the con shuffle. And if you don't know what the con shuffle is, you haven't been to New York on a Saturday.
Yeah. But you guys that don't know us, if you knew us, you would know how shocking it is for any one of us not to be there every single possible second that we can be there. I can tell you guys that I'm one of the biggest nutballs that takes Wandy or Craig hostage to get there as early as possible and leave as late as possible. And actually, Craig is the same way, 0.5. He's the same way. He doesn't want to leave to the last minute.
It's only 4 days. I want to soak up and spend as much time as possible,
Meanwhile, while we are all there, we're all miserable. Like, oh my God, I can't stand on another line.
Yeah.
Oh my God, where are we sitting? Go find a seat. So
Yeah.
like
Get me
the
off my
guests,
feet.
the before we're like, yeah. But while we're there, we're like, why are we doing this to ourselves
Yeah.
every year? Every
Yep.
year.
So yeah, I think we're good. 0.5. Do we have anything on the calendar? I believe we mentioned it on our last video. I don't know if there's anything you want
Well,
to
again,
cover.
now we're at the end of May here. If again you're in the New York area, we've got the Elite 11 Comics Expo at St. John's University, Saturday, May 30th and Sunday, May 31st. There will still be the Long Island, the Hot Flips Collector Fest in Massapequa on Sunday, June 7th. If you're a fan of Collector's Confession, they are hosting the Staten Island Comic Fest on Sunday, June 14th. And then now we're approaching July. I think it's July 11th and 12th is the Eternal Con out at the David Mack Center in Uniondale, Long Island. There will be probably some other one-day shows in there. And then as we get to August, I think August is a big month for us. Terrificon at Mohegan Sun in Ucansville, Connecticut is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, August 7th, 8th, and 9th. We'll be there. We hope to see you there. And again, as always, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to our channel, give us a like, hit, leave us a comment, and hit the bell to be notified when we drop new content.
All right, guys, any last words?
No, just remember to like, comment, subscribe, and you can find us on our socials. We're at ConJunkies on Instagram and Facebook.
All right, well, as always, don't forget to collect,
Connect.
Con.